Hi, welcome to the February 2020 Bourne Review. I'm Susan Barlow. First, some headline news and announcements. Cape Cod Bridges replacement funding was absent from the proposed federal fiscal year 2021 budget. Local Bourne officials and state legislators were disappointed that it was not included in the proposed budget. The current bridges are too narrow for modern vehicles, need frequent repairs which cause lane closures and long traffic tie-ups, and are extremely unfriendly to pedestrians and cyclists. These narrow sidewalks don't even have a railing for protection for the pedestrian. A ribbon cutting and grand opening ceremony was held on February 6th at the new Krua Thai restaurant. The restaurant moved from across the street to a brand new building at 91 Main Street. Once again, the town of Bourne and the Mass Maritime Academy seem to be at odds with each other over expansion on Taylor's Point. The town of Bourne has announced it will conduct an investigation into what happened to access to the bathing beach out on Taylor's Point.
In going back in my conversations with the former town engineer Mike Lysel, Jim Mulvey at times, and as well as some other historians, there was a serious question if the two lots to the left of the beach more, but to the right of the public right-of-way, were properly taken by the eminent domain takings on town meeting action in the late 60s. And and the question is we should go and do our own title search. We feel that those two lots, which is now one big green space area, belongs to the town. And like I said, the former town engineer was pretty adamant, and even to this day, since he's retired, he still feels the same way. So,
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstained? Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
As of February 24th, the Council on Aging has a new director.
Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And first of all, I would like to say I am very grateful for this opportunity to lead the Council on Aging. For those of you who don't know me, I have been working here for 14 years. I love this department. I am very fond of this community. I've been the Supportive Day Director since 2010. And in doing that, I feel like I've built a very successful program and one that has a sterling reputation. And I look forward to the challenge of, widening my scope here and taking the COA into the future. One of the complaints I hear is that we don't have any evening programming, and that is something I would like to address. I would like to at least have a exercise program, some educational, and I think we could we could do that utilizing the Supportive Day program in the back. It's set up great for that, and we could also utilize the cafe. Also, I just want to mention this is an election year, and the gym is going to be closed 5 times, so we're going to have to move some of our programming over to the Pocasset Community Center. And we're looking at, as we're talking about new bridges and, just the dynamics of Bourne alone, we are divided by a canal. We have Friday commutes that can be horrendous in the summertime, and we're looking at maybe having some satellite programming over that side of the bridge.
The pajama drive is on. Bring in new PJs, sizes infant through teens, by March 15th. If you have library fines, 1 pair of PJs wipes out $5 worth of fines. If you don't have any fines, 1 pair of PJs will get you a raffle ticket. Bourne has been unbeatable in collecting the most PJs in the Commonwealth for the past 5 years. These PJs help our local kids in need. PJs can be dropped off by March 15th at the Bourne Library, the Gallo Ice Arena, the Bourne Town Hall, the Bourne Community Building, and the Canal Chamber of Commerce. Many towns on the Cape, including Bourne, are putting forth the Cape Cod Climate Emergency Campaign's proposal to adopt the following as a general bylaw at their next town meeting. Here is the climate policy. The town of Bourne recognizes that the climate emergency, driven by human activity including energy consumption and land use practices, and leading to global warming, rising seas, deadly storms, dangerous heat waves, acidifying oceans, and melting ice sheets, poses an imminent threat to the health, safety, and economic security of the residents of the town. The town of Bourne therefore adopts as its policy the objective of reducing net greenhouse gas emissions from human activity within and by the town to zero at the earliest technically and economically feasible time, and directs that all officers and departments of the town take such measures within the scope of their respective responsibilities and authority as may be necessary and prudent to facilitate such policy and objective. Here are some wonderful photos by area photographers showing the beauty that surrounds us. And now our featured stories. At the February 4th Selectmen's meeting, several initiatives were mentioned to make Bourne and the Cape more bicycle and pedestrian friendly. Most imminent is MassDOT's plan to make Belmont Circle, also known as the Buzzards Bay Rotary, more pedestrian and bicycle safe and friendly.
The major goal is to improve pedestrian and bicycle accommodations around the circle. In addition to that, there were a few minor geometric improvements, and we're also improving the striping and signing through the rotary. Just to give everybody an idea of where we are, we have the Bourne Bridge here. Our project area is in Belmont Circle. I think everybody is familiar with that. And this is basically the limits of where we're doing work on the circle. So we're going a little bit outside of each of the legs of the circle and a little bit further up head of the Bay Road. And the scope, we're resurfacing the entire project, and the major item that we're doing is a proposed shared use path around the entire circle. And the shared use path will be separated by a grass strip from the roadway. This will be for bicyclists and for walkers to get around the circle. And back in May, the major issue that you folks brought up was the crossings of each of the legs of the circle. And what we're doing over here at the bypass, there's an existing pedestrian signal out there today, and we're going to be replacing that, bringing that up to standards with what's known as a hawk signal. And the way the hawk signal works is that most of the day, when nobody's there for pedestrians, you'll see a black signal. Pedestrian comes and presses the button. It goes to a flashing yellow light for the vehicles, and that's when they're supposed to slow down, just like a typical yellow light for a regular signal. And while the pedestrians are supposed to stop and wait for it to clear, then the signal goes to a steady yellow right before the red light comes, and then when the signal goes to red for the vehicles, that's when the pedestrians walk. And then when it's getting near the end of the pedestrian walk cycle, it will start to flash red, and then it will go. Then the pedestrians can complete their crossing, and then it'll go back to being dark for the vehicles. Then we're now going to be adding hawks at head of the Bay Road, the ramps from Route 28 and at the scenic highway down in this corner here. We've got review comments back from Mass DOT, and we're addressing those, and we're putting together the final package for early March of 2020, and construction will start maybe late summer, early fall of this year.
The Bicycle Committee updated board members about the progress to the Bourne Rail Trail.
So where we are now is a 75% design on Phase 1, and then a 25% design for Phase 2, which would run from Gray Gables to Monk's Park. And that work is underway by VHB now. Phase 3, which right now is kind of on hold while we pursue work on these other phases. But Phase 3 would go from Monk's Park to Shore Road by Kingman Yacht Club. We just decided to focus on other areas, recognizing for a variety of reasons that it's logical to maybe keep that for last. And then finally, what initially we called Phase 4, which would go from Kingman to the Falmouth Town line, we have since broken it up into two parts. And 4A would go from Kingman to Scraggy Neck Road. As of right now, that's on hold. And then 4B, which we've just started working on, would go from Scraggy Neck Road to the Falmouth Town line. Part of the reason we broke up Phase 4 is we wanted to coordinate on 4B with the town of Falmouth. That phase, the Bourne end of it, would basically end in a wooded area. And we recognize, and Falmouth recognizes, that we need to work together to make that phase happen. So in Falmouth, it would be a matter of extending the existing Shining Sea Bikeway from North Falmouth, where the parking lot is, up to our town line. And so we've had discussions with Falmouth, and so that's kind of at an early phase, and the key part is to coordinate with Falmouth. To continue this design work, we've applied again for another Mass Trails grant application. Actually, the application was filed on Friday. We applied in the amount for $300,000, which is ambitious. I don't know how they're going to view us coming back a second year in a row, but we figured we'd give it a try. The project, I think, has momentum. It's been well received. I think at the local level, the state thus far has been very supportive. I know we have some people here from DOT. They've given us some great help. And so we feel like we've got momentum, and we want to keep it going.
Tim Lydon, Town of Bourne Engineering Department, talked about a related bicycle initiative for the whole Cape called Vision 88. Also discussed was a related plan called Complete Streets.
The larger Vision 88, I guess they call it, from Woods Hole to Provincetown. I think we are mile 12 and a half to 18, and we certainly want to,
Everyone wants to connect.
we want us to be the connector, so we're not the last one to latch on. Thank you.
All right, Tim Lydon, Engineering Department. So we're starting to see a lot of things come together. So I'm here with Complete Streets basically because of a few things that we've already seen tonight. I'd like to draw attention to the Belmont Circle project. That's Complete Streets at work. Mass DOT commits to doing the best they can to create multimodal improvements, and that's basically the essence of Complete Streets. To bring a synergy in with pedestrians, with your bike riders, with your buses, along with your vehicles that everybody thinks is the most important for the road, but these other constituents have just as much of a right in the roadway that the vehicles do. So Mass DOT basically created this beautiful project, and I just want to start by saying this is something I actually believe very much in. So the Complete Streets project basically recognizes the fact that towns and municipalities in the state of Massachusetts don't have formal roads that would be up to today's standards. So they created this program from a 2014 transportation bond bill that identifies that towns will make this commitment to try to make these improvements when they create new roads, as well as maybe improvements to existing roads. So that's what you have before you here today. So.
There's funding that comes with this that helps as well, by becoming a Complete Streets community. And I think one of the things that is often missed with this is Complete Streets isn't the same for every road. I mean, you may have a wide road that's going to have a separated, multimodal path and, different aspects. And smaller roads may have a striped bike lane or, something along those lines. So it's not every road will look exactly the same. Some of it, but it meets certain, criteria to try to make it, safe for pedestrians and cars and bicycles and all of that. And
Right.
So it's really sort of signing up to a culture of how we want to look at, our streets in the community to meet today's, sort of transportation needs.
So we have a 5-year outlook for a prioritization plan with about 15 projects.
Does the bicycle study that is having the public meeting on March 11th, does it tie together with this?
So that's why I am here. So when you talk about the bike plan, it's very similar to what the Complete Streets prioritization plan would end up.
As we, look at, the transportation needs around the town, this also provides, sort of our mindset, but also comes with the potential of funding to help us achieve those that doesn't necessarily go into our budget or whatever and can be a big help in actually getting things done without, it coming through the town's budget, if you will.
Glenn?
And maybe even a little bit different than the last program. So the last program with MassDOT, if you design it, they'll build it, right? They'll give you virtually as much money as you want. With this program, they will actually give you design money and construction money.
On February 11th, Judy Handley shared the story and photos of her voyage around the world with the Bourne Newcomers and Neighbors Lunch and Learn group at Keystone Place.
The statistics, there was just one sailboat, 42-foot Diana. This is a picture of Windward taken from the top of the mast. And there was the little rubber dinghy, the most very important part of the trip, because when you're sailing around the world, you don't really, there's not marinas. There's some, but not many. You anchor out, and your only transportation to shore is, of course, the dinghy. There were just the two of us, and we went to 36 countries in just a little less than 6 years, 39,000 miles, 3 oceans, and 5 continents. And you have a map that's in front of you, so we'll call this Lunch and Learn Geography. From the Sambla Islands, we went through the Panama Canal, and that was an interesting but non-eventful trip. From Panama, we went on our way to the Galapagos. You crossed the equator for the first time. That was the evening we crossed the equator. There's no wind, and so the water is very calm. And a lot of the Pacific is like that. When we got to the Galapagos, as I said, that was one of my dreams. And so sitting on a beach, picnicking with Darwin's finches, sitting right next to me was one of the thrills of my life. Meeting the giant tortoises, the blue-footed boobies. It was mating season. The fur seals on the beach. These are females. You don't get this close to a male. The marine iguanas that swim in the water with you, which is not exciting. The land iguanas, the magnificent frigates when it was April, it was mating season, and so the males had this beautiful red balloon to let the females know that they're looking for them, and the Galapagos penguins. This is the island of Fatuhiva. It's, I guess, everyone's dream of a South Pacific, just beautiful place, so that the mountains look almost artificial. You can see there were other boats there. We were not the only people crossing the ocean. In the Marquesas Summit, I love the fact that on many of the islands there were these spires, and the churches often mocked the environment with their architecture. It was just beautiful. The waterfalls were grand. Lots of the ancient sacrificial platforms and tikis from the days of old, and lots of dancers. You watch a video of dancing across the South Pacific. Tahitian National Ballet, reenacting the mutiny on the Bounty. And my husband said, "You can see why they mutinied." And I said, and then we sailed across to Moorea. You can see Moorea from Tahiti. And everyone we met in Fiji, their smiles, they welcomed us into their homes. We welcomed them onto our boat. You couldn't walk through a village. We were just walking through to see the village, but they'd pull you in to give you breakfast or to give you tea. Fiji is famous for its diving and snorkeling. So, just a few pictures of some instances. These are wrasse, beautiful anemone fish. And then it was, again, time to move on. This is Vanuatu. Now we're in Melanesia, no longer Polynesia.
If you enjoy watching Bourne TV, please consider becoming a member or an underwriter. Check out our membership page at bournetv.com/membership. We really appreciate your support, or give us a call at 508-759-6763. Now a look at the calendar. On March 11th at 6:30 p.m. at the Bourne Middle School, a public meeting will be held for the Complete Streets Prioritization Plan. Make your voice heard. What do you think would improve Bourne streets for bicyclists and pedestrians? Also on March 11th at 6:30 p.m. at the Jonathan Bourne Public Library, there will be an identity theft, scam, and fraud workshop. It's free and all are welcome. On March 18th, the Registry of Motor Vehicles will hold a presentation on the Real ID, the Bourne Community Building, at 10 a.m. All are welcome. Also on March 18th, the Bourne Historical Society will hold a Wednesday gathering at 7 p.m. at the Historic Center at 30 Keene Street. Speaker Matt Villamino will give a talk about betrayal among the Pilgrims and Native Americans. Admission is $5. Well, thanks for watching this episode of the Bourne Review, and I'll see you next month.